Hey third graders, Miss Sletten here. I'm so excited to be your mystery reader today. And the book I chose is an excellent book about one of my favorite artists. Her name is Frida Kahlo. And the book is called Frida Kahlo and Her Animalitos. And Animalitos, of course, is Spanish for animals. This book is written by Monica Brown and it's illustrated by John Parra. It's a hard last name to say because it's a double R, so you roll your tongue and you say Parra. Can you guys try saying that yourselves? Ready? Let's say it together. Parra, Parra. John Parra. Anyway, let's get started. This is all about when Frida was a little girl. Here's the front page. Frida Kahlo and her Animalitos. Those are some of her pets, or her animalitos. And really, animalitos means little animals. I'm going to read a page and then I'll show you the illustration after I'm done. This is the story of a little girl named Frida Kahlo who grew up to be one of the most famous painters of all time. Frida was special. This is also the story of 2 monkeys, a parrot, 3 dogs, 2 turkeys, an eagle, a black cat, and a fawn. A fawn is just a baby deer, by the way. They were Frida's pets, and they were special too. And it looks like Frida is drawing all of her pets, including her monkeys. Frida had a parrot named Bonito. Bonito means beautiful in Spanish. Like her parrot, Frida was colorful. She liked to wear bold shades that celebrated indigenous Mexico and her own heritage. She lived in a house the color of a parrot's bright blue feather, La Casa Azul, where she grew up with her mom, dad, and her sisters. This is La Casa Azul. And if you go there today, I've heard it's a museum. Frida was always with her father, a photographer who taught her to look at the world through curious eyes. Frida and her father would walk to the park to collect bugs to look at under a microscope. Frida's father also taught her how to paint, finishing touches on his photographs. Frida loved the small brushes and the beautiful colors that she used. Frida had a pet fawn named Granzio. Like her fawn, Frida had watchful, beautiful eyes. When Frida closed her eyes, she remembered her life as a little girl. And this is a picture of her fawn and her dad and her microscope. Frida had a cat with black shiny fur, the same color as her long dark hair. Like a cat, Frida was playful. But as a child, Frida couldn't always play. When Frida was 6 years old, she got very sick. She was in bed for a long time, but Frida didn't get sad or bored. Instead, she used her breath to make a mist on her window, and then she drew a door with her finger. Frida used her big imagination and curious eyes to walk out the door with a magic friend, a little girl who danced and played like a kitten. See how she's taking her finger and drawing imaginary people on her window? Raise a hand if you've ever done that. I've done that a lot in the car when I was a kid. I still do it as an adult. Frida was independent like a cat. Frida's sickness left one of her legs different from the other, and children often made fun of her. But this didn't stop Frida from skating and riding bikes and rowing on the lakes of Chapultepec Park so that her leg could get stronger. Frida was not afraid to do things other girls did. She didn't usually have friends that would join her. She wore overalls and boxed and even wrestled with boys. Frida had two spider monkeys, Fulong, Chong, and Caimito del Guayabal. Like her monkeys, Frida could be mischievous even when she was a teenager. When Frida was 15 years old, she went to a school called La Preparatoria and found a group of friends she loved. Like Frida, her friends were curious to learn all they could. Together, they read and they studied and argued and sometimes even got into trouble. Wearing matching caps, they rode donkeys through the halls of La Preparatoria and set off firecrackers. What a bunch of stinkers. Think you guys would get in trouble if you rode your donkeys through Voyager School with some firecrackers? Oofda. Frida had an eagle named Gertrudis. Like her eagle, Frida's imagination could fly high. When Frida was 18, she was in a terrible accident on a bus, and once again, she had to be in bed for many months. This time, Frida didn't create a magic friend. She created art. Frida's mother made her a special easel and hung a mirror over her canopy bed so that Frida could paint. Frida used her imagination and curious eyes to do just that. "Feet, what do I need you for when I have wings to fly?" Frida once said. This is a picture of her in her bed painting. And it looks like there's two buses that got in a bus accident, and that's why she was in her bed. It's kind of sad. She gets better, don't worry. And if those weren't enough pets, Frida also had 2 turkeys and 3 dogs, Signor Zoltol, Signorita Capulina, and Signora Costi. Frida's turkeys were intelligent and sensitive, just like herself. And like Frida, her dogs were warm and loving. When she was lonely or sad, she would wrap her arms around them, and they would comfort her. Her Zolo dogs were the same breed that ran and hunted with the Aztecs thousands of years ago, and a reflection of Frida's heritage, of which she was very proud. It was a reflection of Frida's heritage, of which she was very proud. Sorry, guys. Frida's dog had no hair at all, but their bodies were warm, and Frida gave them great big hugs whenever she felt lonely or sad. That's what I do when I feel lonely or sad. I give my dog and my cats a nice big hug. Frida's Animalitos were spirited and entertaining, just like Frida was. When her 2 spider monkeys were being good, Frida would hold them like they were her babies. When they were being mischievous, they would steal socks and fruit and leap through the window so no one could catch them. Her parrot, named Bonito, liked to snuggle under the covers while Frida took naps and would do tricks at the dinner table for pats of butter. Frida's Animalitos played all day in the courtyard at La Casa Azul and the bright blue house on Londres Street. Her husband Diego Rivera even made the animals a pyramid to climb on so that her pets could roam freely. When Frida painted, her pets would keep her company, and Frida painted all the time. While the birds sang, the dogs barked, and the turkeys danced in the garden, Frida's animals were her children, her friends, her inspiration. Frida painted when she was sick and hurting, and Frida painted when she was happy. She also painted when Diego was gone, and she was sad. But Frida was never really alone at La Casa Azul, the bright blue house on Londres Street. She had her Animalitos and herself, and she painted Los Dos, which means both of them. That's her in her bed painting. Frida painted herself with Fulong Chang playing with ribbons. She painted herself with Bonito the parrot and Senor Holtel the dog. She painted her black cat too, peeking over her shoulder. Frida painted herself with all of the pets she loved so much, and even butterflies and caterpillars. Her paintings were magic. And today, if you visit La Casa Azul in Coyoacan, just outside of Mexico City, you might hear the sound of a bird or see a black cat jump from the pyramid that sits in the courtyard of the bright blue house on Londres Street, where Frida and her Animalitos lived so many years ago. This is a picture, and on the picture it says Museo de Frida Kahlo, and that just means the Museum of Frida Kahlo. Like I mentioned before, they turned her home into a museum with her paintings. She didn't live to be very old. Probably 40 years old, somewhere in there. And this is a picture of Frida Kahlo and one of her pets. I think it looks like to me like one of her monkeys, and then you see one of her gray cats behind her. All right. Thank you for letting me read to you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you in art class.